Hi everyone, this is Safa1. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how I have this new setup. I have this rig. I got this case from Long & McQuaid in Canada, and it's more or less fits my essential stuff like the Deluge and the circuit rhythm. I have all the wiring internally done. I also have the platform by Electro Harmonics for compression, like overall compression. I have everything running into the compressor and then into the Zoom H1N. My girlfriend got this laptop stand for me, and I have the OP1 and Organelle running into each other. So the OP1 is going to be used for like tape loops, like ambient tape loops. And what I do is I kind of filter out from the mixer in the actual OP1 itself. So I kind of like shave off some of the low end, and then I have it running into the Organelle, where I run the granular freezer. I can also run ORAC, but sometimes for simplicity I like to use the freezer for fast little things like granular effects. So for the Deluge, I'm using as like a full sequencer. I have it master for the circuit rhythm. I don't have the Organelle and the OP1 synced, or the OP1 and Organelle. I do not have them synced to the Deluge or the circuit rhythm. I'm just freehanding those ones. But what my trick is I set up the tempo to 120 BPM for basically pressing play at the same time on the Deluge and the OP1, so they are synced, I guess. So I'm going to be using the Deluge for full tracks, like bass lines, hi-hats, like all the percussion elements, drums, and if I want vocals. Then I'm running into the circuit rhythm for more rhythm, like rhythmic based stuff, like more percussion, more hi-hats, cymbals, stuff like that. Then also on the rhythm I have other like ambient loops, kind of, where I can sample those and have like another element to it. And the OP1 will be for tape loops and maybe some freehand, like playing the synth engine or the sampling engine of the OP1 into the Organelle, and then the Organelle will be for granular effects. So this entire setup is basically just a live rig where I can make music from scratch and finish complete album projects. I also integrated my laptop for live visuals, and what I'm using is this, it's called PhotoMosh Pro, and I'm using OBS to record the full screen of the pop-up window for that program, basically. And yeah, so without further ado, this is what I was making during when I thought I was recording. So I made this tape loop. It's basically just two loops kind of thing, interchanging. All right, so I also on the Deluge made this, so I'll press play at the same time so it syncs up. Yeah, and then I made this bass line. Play again. Hold on. Here we go. And then on the circuit rhythm I have. Actually, this is a little too loud. So. Now I'll turn this down a little bit. Press save. So yeah, what I was saying before when I was making this track actually. I'll start a new track again, but I'll save this one and I'll come back to it later. So I like to have everything kind of like laid out in a way where you remember that, like, okay, on the circuit rhythm, number 8 is my cymbals, number 1 is like my shakers, for example, and number 2 is like my hi-hat. On the Deluge, like the top layer is gonna always be my kick, and then whatever I put in between. Actually, I started this track and then I realized that like I wasn't recording on my Zoom, so I couldn't get the clean audio from the music itself. Anyways, what I'm gonna do is start another track. I'll save this one, and this one is already saved, but I'll save it again. And whatever I recorded on the OP1 itself is already there, so that's fine. So what I'm gonna do is play and shift to the next one and let it come in and loop. So I'm going to press shift load. I'll load a new track. It's going to cut that off because I need to set up the Deluge for the line in. So now it is playing the line in, and what I'll do is yeah, so now you can hear the circuit rhythm, and then okay, that works too. So projects, I'm gonna start a new project from scratch again, but that's okay. So let's try. Okay, right now what I'm gonna do is make a simple like rhythm kind of thing going on. All right. I try to like mix as much as I can on the actual equipment itself, so it kind of sounds like pre-mixed. Right now it's running through the compressor, so it's going to sound very loud anyways, but I'm not going to do any more processing after. So my idea for this live setup is to like have everything as is and release the music as is, compressed with whatever I have. I did want to get a different compressor, this one from Stimming. I forgot what it's called right now, but that one is a really nice compressor from what I can see, and it's hardware. And basically, oh yeah, it's called the Instant Mastering Chain, but it's like 3,000 euros, and I do not have the money for that right now, or the justification to get it. So right now instead I'm just using what I have and what I can. There is a update for the Deluge that is like, here, I'm gonna just pause this. There's an update for the Deluge that I can update the Deluge and have a compressor internally on the Deluge itself. Although I have an older model of the Deluge, so I don't want to risk updating it and making it not work. So I'm just gonna wait until everything is more stable on the user end, and then I will hopefully be able to have an internal compressor eventually on the Deluge itself. That would be really cool. So I'm gonna go to the OP1 and I'm gonna make a loop. The music. So if I bring back the kick, it will start doing its like little movements and stuff. Cool, all right. This is not selected. Okay, that's good. Okay, make sure it's an 8-bar loop. All right, that's good. Let's just go like this. Is it all good? Yeah. All right, nice. Okay, so I'm gonna play this again. What I have is the OP1 is going through the Deluge. So OP1 is for loops, like ambient loops, drones. Organelle is for basically just granular effects affecting the OP1. And then Organelle is going directly into the circuit rhythm. That's why when I introduce the master filter, it filters everything. And then the circuit rhythm is going into the Deluge. And then the Deluge is going into the platform. So the platform is basically last in the chain. And then the platform is going into the H1N zoom. And then the zoom is going into the laptop for visuals, like affecting the visuals. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, I want to just be a little bit quiet and work on this track. Okay, so let's go like this. Yeah, this is nice and simple. Sometimes I think sometimes it's better to keep everything as simple as possible, especially with electronic music, because once you start overcomplicating everything, then it can get really messy, I find. But there's a time and place to make everything sound more messy and like depending on what you're trying to convey emotionally speaking. So yeah, but this is pretty good, I think. Let's try this again. So what I did was I have the Deluge synced like to the circuit rhythm via MIDI, and the circuit rhythm is following the Deluge. So the Deluge is the master, but the OP1 and the Organelle are not synced at all. So it's just freehand. That's why when I'm pressing play, I have to make sure that I'm pressing at the same time. And as you can see, like I already have quite a full track with just a few elements, but like I can thing about separating some of the actual hardware synths is you get more control and dynamic in your overall sound. So it's kind of like you have more control over the color and tone of each sound. Although you could just do a lot with just one synth too, so I'm not disregarding that in any way or means. Let's put some percussive stuff. mix is just subjectively your own choice. Important thing about playing live is, of course, transitions. If you want to do transitions, if you're playing in like a club environment, and then if you're just playing live electronic music and don't want to, because I know that there's a discussion about how some people would rather have the actual song finish, and then if there is a crowd, so they know that you actually finished the song that you were playing, and then that way you have more control over the showing people that you're actually playing live instead of just like a seamless hour-long or however long like loop kind of thing where you're transitioning from like a DJ set instead of like playing like a live DJ set kind of thing. But I prefer to play a seamless live set, kind of like an album, because this is my what I sought out to do in like music, is have like a story, a continuous story where kind of like a movie where you can have all the elements in one, and you can watch it and listen to it for that continuation, like that part, like I mean that project as a whole. For me, like albums, that's why I make albums more than I do just single tracks, because for me it's kind of like a cohesive project album thing, if that makes any sense. So I think I'm going to stop here because this sounds pretty full and you could get carried away, but I think the cool thing about this setup is all the different elements. Sometimes the downfall is like you get lost with how much you can do, but for the most part I think having more options rather than less sometimes is a good thing, depending on your project. If you want to do something that is like a project or synth specific, then having one item or two, having those limitations can help for prospering creativity. tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.